each other. And it was true. That was how Rome was in charge. They had Caesar, and then you had all of this aristocracy all the way down to the lowest level soldier and the lowest level peasant. And it was all about lording things over each other. And somebody's over somebody else, and somebody's over someone else. All of that goes back to the concept of kingmanship. So what's happening here is that the king did wrong, he did evil, and by doing so, he caused the people to sin. What verse am I on, brother? 10? Okay. And Shalom, the son of Jobath, conspired against him and smote him before the people and slew him and reigned in his stead. So you see what's happening. You got a bunch of kings fighting over who's going to do right, So you got an evil king doing evil. Somebody smokes him. Somebody kills him. Now I take over. And you'll see that that's basically the pattern. 11th verse. And the rest of the acts of Zariah, behold, they are written in the books of the chronicles of the kings of Israel. This is what the word of the Lord would spake unto Jehu, saying, Thy son shall sit on the throne of Israel until the 4th generation. And so it came to pass. Shalom, the son of Japheth, began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned a full month in Samaria. For Menahem, the son of Gidai, went up from Tezai and came to Samaria and smote Shalom, the son of Japheth, in Samaria, and he slew him and reigned in his stead. So we're seeing a pattern. One king is in power, somebody comes and slew him. Somebody else shows up, and the same thing happens over again. 15th verse. And the rest of the acts of Shalom and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. Then Menahem smote Tisha and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tasai, because they opened not to him. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein that were with child were ripped up. Basically, this is a harsh thing. They ripped open these women and took their unborn babies out. Just harsh things going on. And it's amazing, by the way, what people will do when they're serving themselves and when they want to be in power. And so I'm in the 17th verse, is that right? Yeah. And in the 9th and 30th year of Azariah, king of Judah, he began Menahem, the son of Gadai, to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and he departed not all of his days from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebaioth, who made Israel to sin. I thought I had read 9 of that verse. I hadn't? Okay. So we're seeing the pattern of kings just doing evil. Okay. 19th verse. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land, and the Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menahem exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, and of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and slayed not there in the land. And the rest of the acts of the men of Menahem and all of it he did, are they not written in the book of Chronicles? So the story goes on. Let's jump to the 25th verse. But Pekah, the son of Remanah, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria in the palace of the king's house, and Adagah and Ariel, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites. and he killed him and reigned in his room. So we're seeing the same pattern, and it's happening over and over again. So let's see if we can pull from this how these lessons are applicable today. I want to just open the class up for why don't you all tell me let's talk about what is an idol. And I started earlier by talking about the golden calf. And so in the Bible, there were certain places, lots of places in the Old Testament where we saw there were false gods, and I mean idol gods, golden calves, poles, all types of idols. So let's talk about, can y'all give me some other examples that you might be familiar with that, yes, Sister Jackson.
That are idols?
What's that?
Give an example that may be an idol to us. Some of us idolize our vehicle.
Okay,
And then some of them idolize
like I was exactly, yes.
our house,
So,
how we dress.
mm-hmm,
We got to be right before we step out.
okay. So, good example. Any others? And I'm really asking if you can tell me, because we're gonna come up to the modern day, but as we read in the scriptures, there were lots of times when there were idols. In fact, sometimes when Israel would conquer a land, those people had idols, trinkets and things that they worshipped. Can we think of any others?
Today, some people worship money.
Yes, money is another example.
They got people that won't give you $1. They just.
He said that some people worship money today. Yes.
They do anything to get it. They sell
Yes.
drugs,
Right.
whatever, because they just money
Okay.
hungry. They won't never stop.
Okay.
No matter how much money they get, they gonna never be enough.
Yes. Yes.
And so money becomes the
Okay.
main focus.
Yes.
And
Yes, Melvin.
As a teacher, what I've observed is that our children idolize their phones, their cell phones. A lot of times when I'm coming to work and I see the parent drop them out, the parent just drop off the kid, no pencil, no backpack, but they have a cell phone. And then in the classroom, we having to deal with them in their cell phones. So, STAR test is big in Texas. So when the kids come to class and we get close to the test, I had a box and I had to take up their cell phones as they came in. And kids would fight me with that. Miss, my phone not on. I'm just gonna have it in my pocket. Miss, no. I said, I'm gonna give it back to you at the end of class. Class is only 90 minutes. You're gonna get it back. And it was really difficult. I had to call parents, and the parent would curse the child out right there on the spot and tell them, did they give you their phone yet? No, ma'am, they didn't give me their phone. Then they'll threaten to come up there and get on them at the school and embarrass them. So I'm talking about real life. Our children, their cell phones that we've gotten them have become an idol, a true present day idol.
Yes. Sister, Ronnie, yes, I can see you now.
People idols, they do that with, like she was saying, they do it with name brand shoes, purses, any type of name
Yes.
brand item. They will idolize.
So let's talk about this question. Why worship an idol? And I'll give you a good example. In the Bible, in these times we're reading about now, there was a god called Molech. This god was I believe he was made out of brass, but he would stand out with his arms rolled out. It was basically a made up god, and he'd stand out like this, and in his belly, it's my understanding, it was brass, but inside the belly they built this fire, and the fire would get so hot that it would come out to his hands. And what people were doing is you take your firstborn child and lay him in his arms.
Yes, sir.
And basically they would burn that child up. And when that child got burned up, and when the child died, they put another one on there. And basically they were feeding that god, and round the clock all the time. And so you ask yourself, why do this in this chapter, one of these chapters, the king of Israel did that with his firstborn child. So let's talk, church, about why would a member of God's people do something like that?
Because they're not a member of God's people.
Well, that king would tell you, I'm born of Israel.
Yeah.
He would tell you, don't you dare tell me that I'm not one of God's children. I'm down through the reigns of the children of Israel. My people crossed the Red Sea. Don't you tell me I'm not a.
But you know, like you said, people of power think that they're on a different
Yes.
level. I was watching the other day when the guy was talking to Trump. He said, so you tell me that the president is not against the law, or it's not against the law for you to obstruct justice. And he said, oh no, I'm just running the country. So it's not wrong for me to do it because I'm up here. I'm different from y'all down there.
Okay.
So that's how people look at
Okay.
it. They take it as, I'm better than you. So
Okay.
this don't apply to me.
Okay.
So
So let me tell you why people were doing that. And all these false gods, they have an explanation for themselves.
our president too.
This particular God, apparently, if you gave him your firstborn, basically the thought was that your firstborn didn't really die. That child would be rebirthed in your next child, and that this God would bless your family and bring it wealth if you sacrificed your firstborn to this false God. Now, that is why people serve false gods.
And look,
Because, go ahead,
like you say, it goes back to wealth.
because they
They're
think
looking for wealth.
if you can convince somebody that if you do this particular thing, if you trust in this wooden table, if I convinced you that if you believe in this table and that this table will save your family, then it will bless you. So all you need to do is bring your wallet up here and lay it on this table, and your family will be blessed from generations to come. I'll bet you, if I could convince y'all to do that, I bet you I'd have some of y'all coming up here right now. Go on with your bad self. Leroy.
You know, you really saying something because it's making me think about the Illuminati, or how
Yeah, I know what you're talking
some
about.
devil worship stuff.
Mhm.
That's beyond our control. That's beyond a Christian thought or even moral thought, because they have those blood sacrifices right now today.
Yes.
We
Yes.
still do that, and I guess you would say Satan is. I wouldn't use saying Satan is blessing them, but the gifts is coming through Satan.
A
Like
lot
you
of
said,
them.
Satan
Yeah.
can give you gifts,
Yes, sir.
but they're not blessings. They're
Yeah.
just gifts, because you can get
Yes.
many gifts from doing evil
Yes.
and doing evil things. I'm working
Yes.
around some people that you just gotta just say it like, I got this talking code, because you never know what you're gonna hear. And my job, man, when I found this out after being there 35 years, that that's a private company / federal. Private / federal. You got some inside things that you ain't never mess with. And that's just the way it is. They know
Yeah.
how, and you know the law. They know how far they can go with the law.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing. You can cuss, fuss, swell up, and bust. You better go with the program, and it's only so high you can go at Metro if you don't want to get with the team.
Yes.
They
Yes.
know the ones
So-
who gonna get with the team.
So let's exactly, Leroy. That's where we're trying to go.
Well, quickly, Brother James, if I may comment on that, and according to the lesson, there was a whole lot of 2 Kings chapter 15 throughout that lesson. There's a whole lot of backbiting going on in that. And in reference to today, where we live today, I think in my heart that, as Leroy just explained, that some people traveling with the devil and doing way yonder better than me, and I know I love the Lord. For whatever the reason, I still feel that God has a place for me. What I'm trying to say quickly, Brother Chambers, my treasures are in heaven, they not in my pocket.
Okay.
So if I was to lay my wallet up there, trust me, you would be very disappointed.
All right. So let's bring it on home. We got about 5-10 minutes. Yeah. I'd be disappointed. I started by talking about the guy with his car. Those false gods didn't stop in the Old Testament days. We got false gods today. There are people that can come right on in here and sit on the front seat and sing as loud and as lovely as they want to. Touch their car wrong, and they will try to cut your head off.
Yeah.
There are people who give well and are nice on Sundays, but they got their false gods that they put higher than God or put next to God. And remember, that's really what God was so upset about. Is that, okay, yeah, these kings are doing right, they're doing well, but they didn't take down the high places. Are there any high places in your life that need to be taken down? And it's always a very important question. We can't ever get to the point of thinking that, oh no, there's no high places in my life. You need to always ask the question, because the question then will force you to deal with, if there are any, you need to take them down. And so we need to ask ourselves individually, and I'm not going to ask nobody to raise their hand and tell us if you got any high places, you know that. I need to be always asking myself, I don't care how old I get, I don't care how educated I get, and I don't care how often I come to church. Are there any high places in my life? Is there anything that's got me so that I believe that's just as important as God? And then I need to ask myself, especially if I'm a leader in my family, I'm a father, if you're a mother, you're a leader in your family, are there any high places in my household that need to be taken down? Because a lot of times what happened, and what happened I believe in the Bible days, is that some of these kids grew up and became adults, and these high places were in their high places, and they were worshiping to these and burning incense to these high places, and they don't know any different. And let's get real for 5 minutes. What Melanie was talking about, these cell phones, and I believe that the reason the parents couldn't stop it, because the cell phone is a high place at the house. The reason why you can't stop it at the schoolhouse, you go down there and in front of the teacher and the principal, you cuss the child out and say, you don't mean to use the phone, and asking the teacher, did you take the phone from him? Well, I couldn't. He wouldn't give me the phone. It's because at the house, the cell phone is a high place and you allow it. And so I believe that's what happened with Israel. People were worshiping these high places because that was a way of life. And so we have to ask ourselves, are there any high places at my house that I'm not dealing with? Because if there are, it goes all the way down through the generations. And the next generation then worships the high place. Now I'm going to give you a real crazy illustration as we rush to a closing. I would be, if I was a betting man, I'd be willing to bet it. If the elders, bear with me there for a little bit, Brother Burton and Leroy. If we had a rule that started at this door on Sundays, let's just say we bought a stack of Bibles. And we had a whole box of Bibles here. And we stood here, let's just say this is the only entrance. And as you walk in, we give you a Bible and we ask you, now you give us your cell phone and we'll give you a Bible. And then after worship is over, you give us the Bible back and we'll put it back in the box and we'll give you the cell phone back. What'd you say, Sister Jackson? Yeah. Yeah, we would have to fight some of y'all about your cell phones. Because some folks are texting and watching games and playing tic-tac-toe during worship service.
Yeah.
And they got a high place
Yeah.
that I will not give up my high place. And so I'm bringing it all the way home. If your cell phone is your high place, you need to take it down.
Yes, exactly.
And so I use that as an illustration because it doesn't become real until you're in a situation where you gotta give up a high place. And I believe what these kings were doing, kings are doing all these great things, and let's just say you get there and you see a high place. Let's just say it's a golden calf that people have been burning incense to for several years. So let's say it's been up there. That golden calf has been at this little spot on the mountain for 50 years. And nobody has complained. And people come to it daily, and they burning incense to the golden calf. The king probably says, you know what? If I take that thing down, I'm going to have to fight these people. People are going to come out and tell me, wait a minute, we worship God. Back then it was on the Sabbath day. We've been singing, we've been praying, we've been giving our tithes. And also you upset because just on one day a week we come up here and we burn an incense or two to this calf. The king may decide that, you know what, I don't want to create no problems. So he didn't take down the golden calf. Where the real mistake is that when we think that because we do go to church on Sunday, we do take communion every Sunday, we do sing to non-instrumental, we do sing a cappella, we're doing all right. But some of us got some high places that we got in our private life when we get home and we get behind closed doors, or we get on the job, or wherever we go. We got some high places that we don't take down, and we think that just because we're here on Sundays and we go through the rituals that we're all right. The lesson for the night is this: you can be good as all get up good, but if you got some high places, God is upset. Because God is a jealous God. He don't want you with no high places. He wants you to trust Him and Him only. Does anybody have any final questions or final thoughts? We got 1 minute.
Well, quickly, Brother Chambers, first of all, I appreciate you as an instructor because I took the New Covenant class from you 8 years ago.
Okay.
And I always understand you.
Okay.
And what you stated a while ago about the cell phone and the Bibles, I done that with guns. I had an arsenal of guns, but I traded them in for my Bible.
There you go.
I said, Lord, take me, because the guns, cell phone,
Yes.
anything of that nature, if that's your high power, it's gonna get you in trouble.
He actually brings up a good point. That's a very good place to close. There are people who feel safe. They feel safer with a gun than they do with God. That if I got my gun, I am safe as I'll get up. They need to take that high place down.
That's it.
That's right.
When you think that the gun will take care of you better than God, you need to remove the high place. I got a couple questions, a couple comments. Brother Daniels.
When I was growing up, I can remember they had an idol. Christmas was an idol.
Mm-hmm.
And people celebrated, and if they didn't get nothing, they was highly upset.
Yeah. That's another good one. Yeah. Yes. Sister Jackson would be the final point. Did you have a point to make?
Yeah, you play with that gun, thinking that you might wake up one night and shoot your own self.
Yep, there you go. Okay, Brother Burton, you want to close this, or do you want to close this up, Leroy? God is good, isn't He? All the time.
The greatest.
Let's give her a round of applause, amen. A lot of courage to stand before antagonizing audience like y'all took. Everybody got a story, amen. We appreciate that because that's what we're here for. Iron sharpen iron. Always iron sharpen iron. One thing that you can always get that God wants you to do is listen, because He don't always come in the loud places. I remember one time it was a prophet,